All right, so with that, our second match is done. Gallon versus Muzzy is coming up next. A little bit of the same. The priest protects. We do have the warrior and the paladin bans. Muzzy with the no warrior strategy, but it ends up having the warlock versus the shaman difference once more. And with this knowledge, I anticipate whoever wins the priest mirror in game number 1 is going to be really important, given that priest does have that really nice edge over druid and shaman. That being said, again, you said like the Zoo Warlock. How does that factor in against the priest?
I do like Zoo Warlock against priest. I've been playing that matchup a ton, mostly from the Zoo Warlock side, but I did climb to Legend this season with priest, and I did face a couple of Zoo Warlocks along the way, a couple of Highlander Zoo along the way as well. I actually think Highlander Zoo is better in the matchup than priest because there's less you can account for, and if you do find Zephyrus,
you can answer it.
One board clear is oftentimes all you need. Like one Shadow Flame, one Brawl, one Shadow Word Pain even, or Shadow Word Death can be all you need. So I do like Highlander Zoo better in the matchup, but I do think Zoo has decent spread against Priest. So
yeah,
might factor in a little bit, but
I think so. Also because Flame Imp answers their first two plays,
one drops,
assuming without they don't have a coin play or they have a Circle of Healing play. Gallon has the Zoo Warlock with the Evil Recruiter, Disease Vulture, Sea Giant. These are some of the key cards. Combo Priest and the Quest Druid with Chef Nomi. Got a chance to talk to Gallon a little bit. He was just telling me about how he feels really ready for this week because he was talking about how his early game struggles weren't really good, and last week he came back with a 2-0. He's ready to turn the corner. He's like, all right, it's like a new season. I'm like effectively even 50% win rate. Let's just start putting some W's on the board. About your win differential. Meanwhile, he's going up against Muzzy, who looked on point yesterday, except for a couple of trips, little fumbles here and there. Par for the course for Americas.
That's right.
Seems like every series we have like one play or two plays. We're like,
We're 2 for 2 in series so far today of those very plays.
We're just like, all right. Pretty good macro strategy. Kind of get where you're going on. I definitely agree with the bans.
Almost across the finish line.
And then it's just like, fumble.
Yep.
I mean, fumbles are so fun, though, because they're very entertaining to watch. We made an entire sport off of it and celebrate when those moments happen.
That's right. Is that where the term comes from, too?
Fumble?
Yeah. Does it come from American football?
I don't think so. I believe the word fumble was invented before the NFL. I'm not an etymologist, so I can't really explain to you the origins of it.
It's got to be. There's like a 99.999.
You know what, TJ?
There are some terms that have come from sports, but they have to be like really old sports. Like the only one I can think of right now, and it might not even be the case. No, it's not the case. Definitely not the case.
TJ, I'm giving you some homework. I provide the historical fact of the day. You have to provide the word of the day.
So one of the ones that I can think of is balk from baseball. Balk, the word existed before, but never in the. But it
changed meanings.
But the meaning of balk in baseball doesn't really match the original meaning of the word balk.
What's the original meaning of the word balk?
The original use was an unplowed ridge. Later, land left unplowed by mistake, giving rise to the verb use miss a chance. So it basically became like.
So you were supposed to plow the land, but you didn't.
Yeah. And it kind of traces back to the original origin. Sorry to go on a rant here for these priest mirrors, but it seems par for the course that we go for a rant here. But like balk is like a hesitate, and a balk in baseball can be that you hesitated, but it can also mean that you just didn't use the mechanics of stepping off the mound correctly. So while it still does have some merits to the original word, it's not entirely.
Got it.
So, long story short, no sports have their own words. Oh, wait, no.
My takeaway
cricket.
Is that words mean things.
Cricket has a bunch of words that were made up just for cricket.
Yeah, just look at the people behind it. Muzzy gonna go for this trade here. His only minion that's been played on the board is the injured Blade Master. So should that go down, High Priest, Amet, and Psychopomp will have a field day.
Yep.
To say the least. When you have High Priest, Amet, and injured Blade Master as the only minions that die, Psychopomp becomes one of the nuttiest cards that you can have to revive those minions. Gallon doesn't have great revive targets. He's got Wild Pyromancer and the Ritualist that he has an option to choose from. Not looking that great here for Gallon.
This is just a weird hand.
I think, in his mind, the decision-making is whether or not he wants to invest more into the board or if he wants to play Acolyte of Pain and draw cards. Investing into the board is the traditional line of play against Priest, where you play like Psychopomp. Try to wrestle back what was taken from you. Tall ass, though. Gallon specifically sequencing it so he can guarantee his Wild Pyromancer. He does have a lot of spells, so if he keeps the Wild Pyromancer, it makes his Acolyte better. I like it. Muzzy picks up Beaming Sidekick. If he goes to the High Priest Amet in this spot, he does have that option, what we're talking about with Psychopomp, to follow it up. I don't know what else he wants to really do, though, with his 4 mana. Does he want to silence his opponent's Pyromancer? I don't think so.
No, because he can take enough power off the board without silencing it.
Right. I don't like it nearly as much. I do understand the threat of the Wild Pyromancer. It does represent an opportunity for a card draw or even board clear.
I mean, this play looks like he wants to go for Wild Pyromancer plus something of his own.
You like to play with fire?
Hey, I got you, friend.
You like to play with fire?
Huh.
Okay, so Muzzy is reading that Gallon doesn't have a lot of good minions to play, and he's correct. And so Muzzy says, if I develop a big board and remove your options, I don't give you a chance to combo. Because he also saw that Gallon very intentionally played Psychopomp and then traded the Neverset Ritualist. Why would you want to revive the 3-2 specifically and guarantee it? Because you have ways to combo with the Wild Pyromancer.
Well, the thing that I'm looking at with that play is that he opted to have a 2-1 Beaming Sidekick over a 6-attack Injured Blade Master. Which is, I think, the thing that I'm unsure about with that play. Because he could have Beaming Sidekicked first on the Injured Blade Master, then Wild Pyromancer.
So instead of a 2-2, it'd be a 1, or instead of a 2-1, it'd be a 1-1.
Oh wait, no, he couldn't do that. He couldn't do that. No. Because you'd have to trade in the Wild Pyromancer. You'd have to interfire first, and that would mean that you would be.
Yeah, you wouldn't get the 1 damage hero power.
Yeah, no, this was correct. Because if you trade in first, then you don't kill the Wild Pyromancer, and then you waste the charge of your own Wild Pyromancer. So you could have had a 6-attack Blade Master, but then you'd leave a 3-1 Wild Pyromancer on the board with a board full of things. No, excuse me, that was correct. I was just trying to run through the sequencing a little bit for Muzzy in my head. But yeah, that was the only way that he could do it that actually gained him attack on board. Because any other way that he does it, he lowers one of his minions' attack. If he did it with the Injured Blade Master, he would have lowered the Injured Blade Master to 2 attack. If he did it with the Wild Pyromancer, he lowers his Wild Pyromancer to 2 attack. Beaming Sidekick is the only way that he gains power on board. So that actually is good sequencing. Smart priest plays, Dan. Something that we don't often get to talk about.
I think Priest gets a lot of bad rap because of their really ideal draws.
Yes.
There are some important things about the deck that people play wrong. If you need, like, okay, so right now I think what a lot of people look at is, wow, there's a lot of Priests out there. Wow, this deck looks great, dude. Wow, so much skill. Wow, Grandmasters, cool. A lot of players in the previous weeks, TJ, were misplaying this deck a lot. a lot.
Yes.
So much so that other players were saying no one knows how to play Priest. And this was last week that they were saying that. So, you know, try as you might to discredit people for like, oh, they're bringing a deck that's hard. A lot of people who are probably looking at this deck wouldn't even really know how to win with it in a lot of situations where it looks fairly obvious what to do.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I say that very confidently, that there was just a lot of mistakes made with Priest. You do have to learn the nuances. The thing is, when the Priest draws Godlike, when they draw the Northshire Cleric and they have those really powerful Ritualist openings, that's when the deck feels like, okay, well, this was a fun.
Yeah. It's the games where they don't draw ideally that really make a difference. Like this one, neither player, I think, had an incredible start. Maybe Muzzy's was slightly better, while with the High Priest and Divine Spirit, quite a bit better. Ooh.
So Gallon can...
He clear the Amet.
Clear the Amet.
But it also heals the injured Blade Master. But he would have a 12-10 injured Tol'Vir versus a 6-5. So you hit... No, you Circle of Healing, heal, then Inner Fire, double trade into the Amet.
Yeah, then you have a 2-1, you have a 12-10.
Yeah.
And your opponent has a 6-5.
6-5. So that's pretty good.
That
and you know there's a
seems good
more
to me.
arms.
Yes. So you should be able to live through. You should be able to live through the Injured Blade Master.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. A lot better than the 2-3 trade and then Circle of Healing and heal it. That being said, Muzzy has Psycho Pop. Can that swing the game? He's gonna need it to. Psycho Pop first.
The end begins. I see a
Oh. That is bad news.
So we had Beaming Sidekick, Wild Pyromancer,
Injured Blade Master.
and
Oh, no, it hasn't
and
been.
High Priest Amet. So it was 3. It was a 1 and 3 for High Priest Amet.
I must consider.
I mean, there's still a problem, which is even with what's on board, Muzzy can't kill a 12-10.
Yeah.
Because if Gallon trades a 2-1 into the 3-1 and then heals back up to 12 life, Muzzy can't get through. So, I mean, this is all cool,
Yeah.
everything, but
Quickly.
Muzzy needs some extra stuff here. Northshire Cleric off by 1. He could play the Cleric and get the buff on the Amet, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. Oh, he's going to go for it.
Is someone injured?
7 health buff, that's what makes the big difference.
Yes.
Okay. Psycho Pop from Gallon's
Oof.
perspective.
So Gallon in his pool has a Acolyte of Pain,
Wild Pyromancer.
Psycho Pomp, Wild Pyromancer, and a
Ritualist.
Neferset Ritualist. And no, that's it.
I must
So,
consider.
I mean, Acolyte of Pain is okay considering he's out of cards. He doesn't really have an option,
I
right?
think it is
to play
Acolyte of Pain.
Yeah,
What's his
Acolyte of
best?
Pain is probably the best.
The worst being Power Psycho Pump. Although 3 attack might be more useful than we imagined.
Like to play with fire?
So an average outcome here for Gallon. Gonna cut off the card draw source, trade. This goes up to 11.
Yep.
Muzzy's still locked out. Needs a little bit extra damage.
That's...
So the Injured Blade Master has +2 from the Power Word Shields, so 4. +2 from the Beaming Sidekick. And +2 from the Morearm. So it's +8 on top of the 7 health. So it'd be 15. Muzzy could reasonably go for some bumps to stop the 12 attack over time. So attack here, Ritualist.
But the Ritualist comes in at 1 health because the effect from High Priest on that comes in before the heal comes out from the Neferset Ritualist. So he gave up a lot of health on Neferset Ritualist.
Feel like that sometimes. Both players all in on the board. Yeah, Muzzy investing into it. He doesn't know when the next time he's going to be able to land a minion with extra arms. Plus, it does make Wild Pyromancer a little bit more complicated when there's a 12-1 second Pyromancer.
Yeah, but he can value trade.
Yeah,
he can heal up the injured Tolvir and value trade over the High Priest on that.
Yeah, I think Muzzy's probably like, I just really wish that I had the opportunity to get this 2-1 to 2-7.
Yeah.
I think that probably would have mattered more.
Yeah, and there's no, I don't think there's a Holy Ripple in the deck from Muzzy. There's not.
Whoa, everything's so low health.
This is when you wish you played the Holy Ripple.
I've got more left in me.
All right, so this is a weird point for Priest.
Is that extra arms?
Whew.
That's big.
So you trade in the low health Wild Pyromancer and then extra arms on each of these. That was the play that stuck out to me first.
Yeah, you trade in the middle Wild Pyromancer and then extra arms.
The
Psycho Pomp first.
And then the Wild Pyromancer, and you heal up probably the Psycho Pomp. Whoa!
Wait.
Dan,
forgetting the double pyro activation.
I thought we'd get through a series.
Gallon!
I thought we'd get through one series.
So instead of having 2 minions, he has 1, basically.
Yes. One
Is
that.
someone injured?
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, because he would have a 3-1 or 5-1, and he would have also had a 5-2.
And he could have healed one,
healed
so he
one.
could have had a 5-3 and a 5-2.
Yeah.
So just strictly more power on board. But I mean, at this point, Muzzy's pretty locked out of the game. He can only draw 1 minion, and I'd have to watch that game again to see if there was anything that Muzzy could have done better on board.
No, I think, for one thing, the Neferset Ritual is coming out as a 2-1.
As a 2-1. That play's tough. The first play that I originally criticized and then thought about it and realized that that's the best play he could have made, that play was good. He set up his board to have the most power possible.
Right.
But then, like, every other turn, yeah, his Neferset Rituals came in at 1 health because he traded in first. But if he doesn't trade in...
No, couldn't he have healed the Amet right afterwards and then come in as a 2-3 instead of a 2-1? Maybe that's what it is, and then that would have impacted the board trade.
That's probably the turn that we need to look at if we want to like really analyze if Muzzy could have had just a tiny bit more board presence. But I mean,
I like how we said people are misplaying with Priest and yet calling it brain dead, and I mean you get to see a little bit of that. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna find out what happens in Game 2 between Gallon and Muzzy.
Rising again, darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs, they grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do. There might be magic monsters, mummies in the market. Mysticism. There should be scorching deserts, adventure, monster of narcissism. High stakes, think annihilation, obliteration of civilization. Now is the time to be brave. Evil's come to enslave, but this league's gonna save the world.
I'm Will Barton. I'm also Amnesiac, the Young Savage. I was Amnesia SC for like 3 years. But since I didn't have a microphone when I started playing Hearthstone, everyone was just like, oh, it's Amnesiac. And I was like, no, but there was no mic. So I was just like, yes, okay. So I think my experience for Grandmasters was different from a lot of people because in my mind, there was just never any way I wasn't gonna be in the league. I've been top 5 in points in North America for like 4 years now or something, 3 or 4 years. I have a big presence online. I think people get excited when I come onto streams and watch them. I'm somebody people can kind of get behind. So in my mind, when they announced Grandmasters, I was like, all right, let's do it. In terms of Hearthstone, I still really think that I have what it takes to be one of, if not the best players in the world. And I really intend to put in more work than I did last year and be more disciplined. I think I got a lot better at using my time over the past year, and I want to apply that skill and show people just how good I can be.
Hello, my name is Frozen. I play for Team Liquid, and my Twitter handle is @LiquidFrozen. I came up with my username because it's very cold in Michigan, and I added the 0 instead of the O because it looks cool. I'm most looking forward to being able to play at the highest level every single weekend, being able to compete against some of the best players in North America. I think regionally, performance-wise, Europe has been a step ahead of us, slightly better than America's. But I think that APAC, even though they have a lot of solid players, they are overall weaker than North America. So if I were to rank the regions, it would be EU first, NA second, and APAC third. If I could design a Hearthstone card, it would probably be 1 mana, 0/8. Whenever your opponent's rope burns, they take 5 damage. I've always tried to be the best and do whatever it takes. Hard work, a lot of practice. I think that's what really translates in Hearthstone as well.
Currently at 1-0 over Muzzy after winning the Priest Mirror. We're going to go to Zoo Warlock versus Priest. Zoo Warlock, a deck that TJ feels has a really good chance against the Priest. And it's largely predicated on the fact that Zoo Warlock does have answers to Priest's early game because it's also fast on the board itself. Mm-hmm. And, we kind of talked about having a lot of stats early on. Getting that never set Thrasher on the board is really paramount. And if you take a look at the deck list, yeah, Gallon even has a couple of other fun stuff. Serpent Egg and Grim Rally. I'm a big fan of those kinds of combos. I feel like good old fundamental Hearthstone.
There's no Spirit Bomb, which I think makes the matchup worse. But it's still, I think, good. I thought there was no Flame Imp for a second, and I got scared. But there's a Flame Imp. I don't think you can build a
Flame Imp's like the reason you play it. But yes, at Legend rank, 47% for Zoo Warlock, 53%
for Priest?
the Priest.
Really? Okay.
I mean, Zoo Warlock has a bunch of different builds, though. And so you're talking about Zoo Warlock decks that have a wide range of possibilities. They could be playing big wide boards that are weak to Wild Pyromancer. They could play clunky minions that get awkward on the draw. Taking the most popular Zoo Warlock deck and trying to take a relevant sample size. We'll just say Legend to rank 5. Zoo Warlock, 58% against Combo Priest.
I would say 55-45.
This is the Egg Magic Carpet version. And I guess that makes sense. Magic Carpet is hard for the Priest to answer easily. Yeah. And then you get a lot of 1-drops to help destroy their board.
I think the absolute best one is this version without Magic Carpet, but with Spirit Bombs. just because you can fight for boards so aggressively early on.
Ho ho ho! So Muzzy adds more board tension on the board. He's instead of playing like a beaming psychic and hoping that the 1/2 survive, he says if you kill you, first of all, his Wild Pyromancer is an absolute highest priority kill. It destroys the very foundation of what Zoolock wants to do, which is build the board with small minions and get incremental advantages. But if you do kill his Wild Pyromancer, my Light Warden lives. And by playing a second minion that's relatively high threat, Muzzy increases the chances that he's going to stick extra arms.
Ooh, this is tough.
Is it though?
Yes, it really is.
Just juggle twice.
Sure, but that's very unlikely that you juggle twice into the same target.
How unlikely? 25%
Two,
unlikely?
yes. Okay, this is the play that I like the best. Because if it consolidates your health on board, so he'd have to have 2 spells in order to kill this Wild Pyromancer. If Extra Arms comes out, the Wild Pyromancer would have 3 health, and he would have to trade. So then all of a sudden you have so many outs. You have the Ethereal Lackey picking up Mortal Coil. You have the Rush Lackey with anything. You have Kobold Lackey.
I agree with the play.
However, this play,
that hurts.
yeah. Well, he picked up no proactive lackeys outside of Faceless Lackey, which is proactive when there's an empty board. It's pretty reactive when you don't, unless you get, Bluegill Warrior.
Well, the nice thing is that Gown could utilize the Grim Rally in this position.
Yeah.
Faceless Lackey, Voidwalker, or Flame Imp, and then Grim Rally is a pretty decent turn 3 play. Muzzy also has to have the spells to make Pyromancer a true threat. Thanos is interesting. I wonder if Gown wants to maybe use Witchy Lackey to evolve instead. But that does make you more vulnerable to the AoE.
At some point, he's going to have to take a risk and play into something. I don't know if it's this turn, because you're more susceptible to being blown out.
If it evolves to a 2/3, you gain more stats with the Witchy Lackey. Got him.
Got him.
This extra arms, though. Board clear.
So you'd extra arms on the Neferset Ritualist?
Looks like it.
Trade in the then 1/1 to the Flame Imp?
Yes.
And value trade the Wild Pyromancer over the 2/3?
I think I want my Wild Pyromancer to be healthy. But you might be right.
You get to push damage.
I don't think
more
one
damage
difference is what makes or breaks this matchup. I think it really does come down to who has the board.
Yeah. No, maybe you do that. Or you can all in under Wild Pyromancer and extra arms Wild Pyromancer, but I think you want multiple attacks.
Yeah.
So extra arms Neferset Ritualist, trade in the Neferset Ritualist and push 3 down. Most health on board. Seems reasonable to me.
Yep. Agreed. Gown using both his lackeys has to kind of restart here. That was another thing about the Witchy Lackey that I wasn't really sure about, is that by doing so, if you did pick up the Evil Recruiter, you're in an awkward spot. And now Gown has to go for the Evil Genius, but this is way worse development than having a 3/3 and a 5/5.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Bad. That's real bad. Either the Kobold Lackey or the Goblin Lackey.
Yeah.
He knows another More Arms is on the other side. So from my angle, it looks like Muzzy just has a simple development turn here. He's got Injured Blade Master. He can heal his 4/2, trade, and then take care of business. If his opponent did have a Kobold Lackey, I think my opponent would use it 100% of the time in that position. I'd be very surprised if Gown had a Kobold Lackey and he didn't use it. This is from Muzzy's point of view, of course.
Yeah, I do like the development turn because Muzzy needs to make sure that he keeps making his board as big as possible. Because Zoo does have a pretty like impactful mid game. You have Neferset Thrasher, Disease Vulture, Evil Recruiter. They can get onto the board with big stuff really quickly.
Right.
So if you have one turn where you don't develop as much as you can possibly develop, then you could be in a situation where they can trade back on the board the next turn.
Yeah, I think that's why I was a bigger fan of the Voidwalker over the Witchy Life last turn. Particularly for that reason. Obviously, much easier for us to say.
Yep.
Second copy of Extra Arms is out, or rather the More Arms version. Second copy hasn't been drawn yet. Down with the Crystallizer. And finally can get Evil Recruiter online. But a lot of damage has been dealt.
Lucky day.
Mortals.
So the Power Shield isn't particularly too impressive in this position. But it could pick up something really good.
Yeah.
If Muzzy's able to pick up more spells for it to combo, this Power Shield has potential to be very big.
Yeah.
Outside of that, what minions have died? We had a Light Warden, we've had a Beaming Sidekick.
And that's it.
I must consider.
Light Warden, Beaming Sidekick. Also, the Crystallizer play from this turn from Gallon over the Voidwalker is an interesting thing to talk about too. I understand why he goes for it. It's because he wants multiple taunts. Crystallizer doesn't have taunt to begin with, so giving it taunt gains you that extra benefit and awkward point for Muzzy. But Voidwalker is still the same stats on board that turn. Keeping Crystallizer has the upside of next turn being able to Disease Vulture, Crystallizer, and Grim Rally in the same turn.
Yeah, the Voidwalker does have the option of being planted as a roadblock in case your opponent has one single big minion.
It's like the more consistent play, whereas holding on to Crystallizer is the more like, I'm going to play for the absolute... Oh, is that Sinister Deal? Ooh.
Yes, Sinister Deal, getting Cobalt Lackey would be really big here.
The awkward part about it is as soon as you Kobold Lackey, Sea Giant is shut off.
You know, maybe it's better. Well, maybe it's better for Gallon to pick up Ethereal Lackey for a spell then.
I think Rush Lackey is probably the best because it allows you to clear off a minion while still developing a minion. If that makes sense.
Sure.
So Sea Giant still comes down because if he picks Kobold Lackey here, he can't Sea Giant.
I guess he could Life Tab. Search for a better option.
Life Tab Voidwalker.
Grim Rally.
Grim Rally is very weak.
It's still going to be weak for a while until you pick up Solarium.
Yeah, but if he's life tapping...
Almost out of time.
Oh.
Okay, we're definitely trading this 5/5 into what, the Wild Pyromancer?
Probably Wild Pyromancer.
That's like happening no matter what.
And I think I want to Kobold Lackey. Actually, Grim Rally is decent on this board because it makes the trades awkward. Oh, but it looks like he's going to hold on to it.
Try crystal.
Why do you fall?
Northshire Cleric.
Woo!
Some good stuff coming out here, but the board tension is going to increase, and Gallon will have a giant that's going to be very cheap.
Someone injured?
Looking for Circle of Healing. Actually, it might be awkward with the 5/2.
Inner Fire again. I think you might want to use this on the 5/2. I think so. I think you need to protect your taunt.
Yep. All right, looking for something big here. Oof.
Well, he does get to play his hand.
Is that good enough, though?
It might be. Because a 9/9 is still really intimidating, and your opponent just used an Inner Fire. So you can Evil Recruiter, Sea Giant, Grim Rally the Evil Recruiter, in fact, and then push past his 2/5 taunt. I think killing the Tolvir is really important. That would hurt, though. You know, it hurts because you don't have a 4/4, you have 2/4 instead. Starting to see why that inner fire play was really valuable. Had Muzzy not done that, Gallon would be able to get past this Tolvir, would be able to trade to the 3/2.
Well, what my argument is, he could have inner fired his beaming sidekick and cleared off the 5/2 and left him 1/1 in instead. But I think this play is better because it doesn't give him. It doesn't give him a lackey, even though he's already seen one evil recruiter.
Got it.
It doesn't give him a lackey for the second evil recruiter.
Divine Spirit, is that lethal if he does? No, it's close.
It would be 1 off. It's 1 off.
Instead, he could trade to the Giant and heal, clear off the board.
If you Divine Spirit inner fire, though, is it checkmate?
Yeah, they have to like win the next turn.
He would have to have a draw off the top.
Because he can't clear off every minion on the board.
Oh, no. He could draw into like Evil Genius and then get double Titanic Lackey.
Well, sure. I think you win if you clear off the entire board.
Yeah, I think that's more of a win.
I like Divine Spirit, Inner Fire,
friend.
kill the 9/9.
Yeah.
And then Gallon would have to get like a lackey to again win the game. Oh, wow. Okay, he's going for it.
Well, this cuts off the life tap.
Yeah, I like that too.
What? That keeps him alive. Oh, my goodness.
Barely.
Barely.
I mean, that's just stalling. Topsy-turvy ends the game. But Gallon would have to get the miracle of all lackeys.
I don't think there's even a
possibility. Evil Genius.
Speak to me.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Evil Genius, you have to kill off your direwolf.
You win.
Yeah.
This time.
It seemed like the draw was Mecharoo. Muzzy ties it up, 1 game apiece. Priest able to get over the hump of Zoo Warlock.
Yeah, and you can see why Zoo has so much fight, despite like probably the worst lackeys for each situation that Gallon got from his his first 2 lackey generation things. He still like started to fight back in the mid game. There's a lot of bursts that Zoo can do in the mid game, which is kind of similar to how it's always been, right? It's just different. In the past, it was Doomguard, and now it's Evil Recruiter and Disease Vulture. But Priest is still able to edge it out, and Muzzy, focusing on one thing, and that's full control of the board, and that's what you have to do. Eventually, just run him out of stuff. He'll stick a big thing, and you'll kill him.
Yep, makes sense. So going into the last couple games, Druid Shaman versus Druid Warlock. We're going to game 3 every single series, by the way. Priest has been getting a win in every matchup outside of the mirror. Not really that much of a surprise, but it is something that is worth noting that with that Zoo Warlock being thrown in, is Gallon forced to play Druid in this spot? I don't like Zoo Warlock versus Shaman. I think they have a little bit too much going on. They have lackeys, they have Sandstorm Elemental, they have Mind Control tech.
I think it's okay. I'm not sure. If I were Gallon, I have a lot of confidence in Zoo. I'd probably queue Zoo again because you get Druid or Shaman, and I feel really confident with Druid, and I feel okay against Shaman. But Gallon might feel different. Muzzy's going to be playing the Quest Druid here. One of the big techs you can see is the Mossy Horror.
Ooh, I like that. That's good against the Shaman. And Mind Control tech.
Good against Shaman, good against Priest as well. As you mentioned earlier, you said you were just wrecking people with Stampeding Kodo and Mid-Range Hunter.
I was just doing it
out of necessity more so than you thought it was the Nuts tech, but it seemed to work out. And Gallon is going to play the Zoo Warlock. We'll see. I like this matchup for Gallon. It's about getting that early start. This particular Zoo Warlock can have slow starts because a lot of your one drops are not super aggressive. But he has a Flame Imp in the opening hand. The question is, do you keep the Serpent Egg?
I do not. I want Flame Imp, Direwolf Alpha, Knife Juggler. Ooh.
Serpent Egg has a very high upside.
TJ.
It's the Flame Imp, Coin Flame Imp.
That is bad for Muzzy.
Oh, Flame Imp, Coin Flame Imp, Imp into Direwolf Alpha.
Yeah. This is real bad news. You gotta kind of wonder, you know. I'm surprised by this Druid queue.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big draw.
Behold, jewels of the sun.
He needs Wrath, like right now.
Right now. Nope. Hidden
Okay,
Oasis.
well, next draw.
Hidden Oasis can
Sort of.
sometimes.
I mean, it does get him a little bit of time, but Zoo Warlock strategy is gonna like be so much better than by the time turn 6 rolls around.
Yeah.
So Gallon not gonna rush it with Direwolf Alpha. Is gonna first think. I would be.
I wonder.
So the thing about Direwolf Alpha is that he does actually give Muzzy a hero power value, but look, you're dealing 4 damage per minion.
I mean, he's taken a lot to make that happen.
This needs to go to taunt. I think this might have to go into taunt.
If it goes to taunt, there's a pretty big punish for it with Abusive Sergeant.
So
Muzzy obviously doesn't know that, but it also delays his quest. But can he afford to take 4 or take 3 with hero power and then also take 6?
What to do?
He'd be effectively 17 health going to turn 4.
I think you gotta do it probably then.
He can load next turn for Rush to try and take off some damage.
I wonder.
Oh, he has Fabinus Floop. So that's probably why he's thinking about Lodi.
Time waits for no one.
If he goes for the Rusher,
What
Floop will be a 3-4 Rusher, and it'll help him win back the board. And I think he's just going to delay his quest.
Power takes many.
Yeah, that makes sense. Direwolf out for the higher priority target removal because it is a 4/2 minion when it buffs the minions to its side. So that Floop draw ends up might being a saving grace for Muzzy. And honestly, if Muzzy picks up Starfall, he doesn't need it to be choose 2.
Yet. Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Muzzy might be able to survive. Now the question is, how much damage can Gallon get in before the game is over? And what does he kill? I think he kills a Juggler here. Quest is 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
Had he not picked up that Innervate, Muzzy would be dead. Because the Innervate wouldn't be drawing those cards for him to be able to get the Fabinus Floop and whatnot. Actually, yeah, because his Floop wouldn't have this 3-4 rush. Gallon thinking about how he wants to go about this. Sinister Deal gives him the immediate lack that he would want to use versus Evil Cable Rat gives him less mana flexibility and less choice.
Whew.
I'm a little bit not sure about this. But then again, what does Gallon really want off his Sinister Deal? Yeah, that would change his play. And almost however Gallon chooses to use his Titanic Lackey, Starfall's coming down next turn.
Yeah. Obviously, we can see the hand, so the best play is Sinister Deal, pick up something proactive like Faceless, and then Titanic Lackey the 3-2, and... Okay, Ethereal.
Yes, Ethereal Lackey, trade in 3-1, and buff something else. But you are making it weak to swipe. Is this all face?
Wow. And if you're Muzzy...
Good move from Gallon.
That's a really good move. Wow. He kind of read that perfectly. Because he plays into Swipe, but... he can't play around both?
Starfall takes off 3 damage. I think instead, does Muzzy go for a Zephyrus play? Muzzy's thinking deep in the tank. If he plays Zephyrus, he's accepting 6 damage, Grim Rally could potentially be lethal.
What to do?
And if he Starfalls now, does he have the ability to stabilize after? Is the thing.
Well, if he Starfalls now, he also doesn't get any progress in his quest, and he does need his quest progress in order to win.
Yeah.
He also needs to deal damage to everything yeah, because then he can just play Ethereal Lackey Evil Recruiter.
Yeah.
Never mind.
You think it's better to Starfall for 2 AoE?
Only if he has Grim Rally.
Or Evil Recruiter.
It's your lucky day.
Well, he had a Lackey in the hand anyways. But this is looking bad. Muzzy's looking dead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oasis Surger. So Oasis Surger allows you to rush twice and remove power on the board. Kill the Juggler, kill the 3/3. He's alive by 1 HP. Gallon needs 1 damage. Ethereal Lackey first. Any form of damage.
That's not damage. Yeah, I think embalming.
Any form of damage.
Any damage. Rush or Kobold. There it is.
There's the damage, and that's going to wrap up the series. Druid's greed to play the quest has his vulnerability in the early turns of the game, and double Flame Imp gets their Zoo Warlock, able to get Gallon a much-needed victory. He also has sent Muzzy back down to 3-3. Muzzy keeps winning 1 and losing 1.
Yep.
He had a 2-0 start to week 1, had a 0-2 week 2, and now a 1-1 week 3.
Yeah. And Gallon has won 3 in a row.
Gallon's won 3 in a row. He's 3-2.
Yeah, he started 0-2 and then hasn't lost since. And maybe he's going to go for the 12-2 dream.
All right, let's go ahead and check in with Gallon, who's waiting on the line. Gallon, you there?
Hey, how's it going? My background is like super. Oh no, that's not the right way. Here we go. Professional? No, a little bit too. Okay, there we go. We're good.
Yeah, your background's the problem.
Dude, that first game was terrible. The extra arms was wrong. It was so bad. I'm sure you spotted it because as soon as it happened, I was like, "Wah!"
Yeah.
Because that's how bad it was.
We did.
For some reason, I just had a brain fart. I think Muzzy also had a brain fart that game. We both didn't play the Priest Mirror too great. If you just extra arms, like you trade the 3-2, you extra arms the 3-1, and then like you extra arms and you heal, you end up with 2 5-2s instead of like 1. So it was really bad. It was really bad. I'm kind of disappointed with myself that because that stuff is just so obvious, and I don't know. It was bad.
Do you have any comments on the fact that America's consistently seems to have like 1 or 2 of these every series? Is that just natural, or do you feel like it's because of some other reason?
I think right now Priest is a really popular deck just because it's like pretty much the best in the metagame, and you're kind of guaranteed to win with it. It feels like, but it's also a really hard deck, and you have a lot of options and choices in front of you like every single game. And when you're playing against someone else that's like good and isn't like revealing what cards they have, you can often like think about a lot of things that you shouldn't be thinking about. So it's just, you have a lot of choices, a lot of opportunities to mess up. And I had one of those opportunities today and I messed it up. So,
are you more sympathetic to people who misplay on stream now, Gallon?
No.
Good answer.
Bad. It was really bad. I don't like that. I don't like losing because I messed up, man.
Well, you didn't lose that game.
I should have. And then Muzzy won, but then he messed up. So I don't know.
Going into game number 3, were you surprised that Zoo Warlock queued into Druid? I thought Muzzy was going to go for the Shaman instead of the.
Yeah, he has an MC Tech and a Mossy Heart in there, and I figured Muzzy would be like, oh, this is gonna spook Gallon off of Zoo, and then he'll queue Druid, and they'll get the Shaman in. So I was just like, whatever. Get a double flame in your opener, win the game. That was good.
It's true.
Good opener.
Got it. All right. Do you have any questions for Gallon, TJ?
Yeah. What is this the Zoo Warlock that you brought this week? Is this your favorite version of Zoo? Because I know there's like a ton out there. Did you like practice any other ones? Because there's Highlander Zoo, there's a Zoo with Spirit Bomb, there's Zoo without the Neferset Thrasher.
Who's trash talking your Zoo? He's like, this Zoo is Spirit Bomb. It's never gonna win.
I feel like if Priest is gonna be a staple for every single. This is probably revealing some of my strategy for next week if I do end up bringing Zoo. But I think if Priest is gonna be a staple from here on out, you might just want to submit 2 Spirit Bombs because you need a way to kill the early stuff, and if you don't have that, it's so rough. Like you're either looking at Flame Imp or Bust a lot of the times, and yeah, Spirit Bomb would really help with that. So next week, Serpent Egg out, Spirit Bomb in, if I bring Zoo, something like that.
What about double Spirit Bomb, double Soulfire?
Plague of Flames, Scarab Egg. Woo!
Yo, Plague of Flames, man. At one of these metas, it's gonna be insane in Zoo, and you're gonna be wondering why people weren't running it before. I'm not sure if it's that meta right now, but it's definitely a good card.
That card power level potential is absolutely absurd.
It's one of the best cards ever off of Ethereal Lackey. So it's like it's got that going for it. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right. I was playing it day 1 of the expansion. I thought that card was nuts. But alas, you bring up a good point. No one's playing it yet. It could just not be the right meta for it. Last question. You're going up against Naogi Don. And I know that going up against the #1 division can be a little intimidating. But if you win, you realize you'll be tying for the #1 record in the division. Any thoughts? Yeah, so I'm going to fire some shots right now. And it ties back into the point that I had earlier, which I'm really mad at myself because I misplayed and I lost because of it. I'm calling you out now, Gideon. I think your attitude to losing is really bad. You say a lot of stuff like, oh, man, I got unlucky. My Dr. Boom was bottom 10 or whatever. And you don't look at where you messed up. You only look at variants that like may have caused some slight unluckiness. But there's always rooms in games like that to play better. And you should be looking at that to improve rather than just saying, oh, my opponents got lucky. And it happens without fail every single time he loses. There's a tweet about it where he says, I got so unlucky. And it's just, I feel like it's a little bit blind to how to improve at the game. So shots fired. I'm coming for you tomorrow. Don't say you get unlucky when I beat you. All right.
Are we supposed to slow clap? Is that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah, Gallon. That's right,
man.
And that's why we don't let him the cast.
Like I did in the Priest mirror and lose 0-2. So who knows?
Yeah.
All right.
No, well, I think that was well said, Gallon.
Yeah, well said. You don't need to say anything else.
I appreciate you bringing some drama, some entertainment.
Well done.
Some fire.
Now Gallon versus Gallon, 3rd match on Sunday, September 8th. Don't miss it. Thanks, Gallon, for stopping by.
Yeah. Whew.